Conference will now be recorded.
It's Thursday, February 12th, and we're starting at 5 p.m. We'll begin with a roll call. Counselor Rask. Here. Counselor Lovendall.
Present.
Counselor Brennan.
Here.
Counselor Burns.
Yes.
Counselor Pogwizd.
Tim here.
And Counselor Webb is not here yet. We have with us, oh, did he just arrive? Okay. We'll do that. We don't have to do a Pledge of Allegiance for a
Technically,
special session?
Would like to though.
Okay. What do you guys think?
That's right. It's a free country.
Yeah, it's up to you.
It makes me cry.
Well, let's do one while let's do one, not to make you cry, to while we're waiting for Brett.
Yeah.
Keep ourselves in practice. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, Brett, welcome. And so we now have Counselor Webb joining us. So we are all here. We also have with us as staff, we have Chief Hobart, we have Administrator Radcliffe and Recorder Harrison with us. Okay. To begin with, I will entertain a motion to enter executive session under ORS 192.6602F to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection.
So moved.
Second.
We've got a movement and a second. I'll call for the vote. Counselor Brennan.
Yeah.
Counselor Burns.
Yes.
Counselor Pogwizd.
Tim, yes.
Counselor Webb.
Webb, yes.
Counselor Lovendall.
Yes.
Counselor Rask.
Yes.
Okay, with that, we will be entering into executive session.
All right. Give me just one.
Into the session.
This conference will now be recorded.
And it's unlocked, so people can join virtually.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Joseph. Did you bring back the papers for the meeting? Okay, why don't you disperse those to the city councilors? And so we are not going to have any action out of the executive session. And we have one primary item on the agenda, which is the continuing discussion of the public safety levy.
Did you give an ORS that detailed what we went in?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It was ORS 1966.220.
19 No, it was not. It was 192.660.
Oh, okay. I got the last digits mixed up.
Thank you.
You did though. Very good. Yes.
So I do want to say, I wanted
We
to,
don't need this.
I need to add one item to this agenda. I know we have 1 hour, but I do need to add to, I'm going to try to end, have add item 4, let's say, make it 4B or something, or 4A or whatever, or just,
We don't have agenda.
oh, I'm sorry, you guys don't have an agenda. All we have on our agenda is this discussion of the police levy. I need to add one more item, which is to have a very brief discussion about the drinking water safe revolving fund, which is related to the funding for our upgrade for our filtration system. So I need to talk to you guys about that for like 5 minutes. Okay, and we have to end at 7 because we have for our meetings, right? It's a special session, or is that just for work session? Since it's a special session?
Can't have decisions. Since there was a potential action item out of executive session, this is a special session. So you, if you wanted to, you could.
We could go forever? Great.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I was gonna say you could vote to extend it.
I can go till 7.
Okay, well, let's aim to go to 7, okay?
Thank you.
What we're going to do, the next item is we're discussing the public safety levy. So we had at the last session, work session, we talked about a bunch of things about the process for the steps to pass a levy. I'll just briefly go over it again. The committee came together and thought about the amount that we needed. We reconvened and we came up with some language that is what the draft ballot measure should be. So tonight, what we need to discuss is the title, the question, and the summary. At the last meeting, we discussed how the deadline to get an item on the ballot is February 27th or 29th, I forget right now, 27th. So we will have to be ready to take action at our meeting next week. We will have to have ballot language that we're going to adopt next week if we want to put this ballot on the measure on the ballot. We talked about last time that we might want to wait until the last minute to do it because of wondering what else is going to be on the agenda. Melissa's heading off.
I'm not,
Okay,
yeah, I'm not feeling well. I'm sorry. Please excuse me.
okay, hope you feel better.
Me too.
So that's kind of where we're at, to remind everybody where we're at. So we're going to try to prepare the language as closely as we can, get to consensus on it. And then at the next meeting, next Tuesday or next Thursday, we will need to make a decision about the specifics of the language to finalize it and whether or not we're going to put it on in May or if we wanted to delay it to November. Okay? So that's where we're at. So I think what we should do is just focus our time tonight on this specific language. Okay? So we'll just start with the title.
I wasn't here,
Yeah, do you
Last
have a
meeting.
question?
but everything that's in here has to be factual, has to be. true.
Yes, right.
And the last sentence, it says the levy spreads operational costs of our city's public safety to owners of approximately 1,091 taxable parcels rather than 703 utility accounts.
Correct.
So, but that is to say that the entire levy in the past was just applied to those 703 accounts.
No, it was always applied to the 191 tax parcels.
1,091, that's right, the
Right.
entire levy was.
Yeah.
But to say rather than the 703 utility accounts.
Oh, got it. Okay, right.
So
So the
perhaps the
implication-
levy spreads a portion of operational costs? That makes sense?
Just- Well.
Or no, it's a
so
portion.
Yeah, so, but I take issue with the language where it says that the cost is spread over more users with this. It's actually spread over less users when you drop the public safety fee, because a person might own property here and pay taxes here, but you may have a rental, and that rental may require a person to pay for their own water. And now you have two people paying into that. So that actually does spread that cost out, a wider catch.
Okay, do you want to cut that whole sentence? Is that what
Well,
you're
I'm
proposing?
throwing it out there,
Yeah, no,
for
this
everybody
is
to think about.
Super helpful. This is what we have to hammer out.
I think that first part would be the levy spreads operational cost of our city's public safety to the owners of approximately 1,091 taxable parcels, period.
Period. Yeah,
And then
Cut
if you
out the
take that
rest.
other part out,
Yeah.
that takes the
Yeah.
implied part out, that it's implied.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that Brett's talking about.
Yeah.
Is that right, Brett?
I think it does. I wish I wish there was a way we could say, like, take your pick, this or that, rather than, you know what I mean? Because
It seems like
It
it's,
is spread out over, the 1.8 is spread out over
yeah.
the
And
larger end. And then
And
the
yeah.
utility,
encompasses even more.
Talking about two different, yeah, we're
yeah,
talking. about
they're
two
apples and
different-
oranges, so maybe not have them in the same sentence.
But it does say that it would eliminate the $12 monthly
Yes.
public safety fee earlier, which would take that implication of the 703 counts out of the whole picture anyway, I think, is the way I read it.
or we could, yeah, I think you were hoping, Gary, to kind of try to capture this idea of, now we're putting this extra 100,000 onto those accounts, but really it does kind of, we can talk about that maybe in public meetings or things, but it might just it might be just better to be.
it just seems like it kind of helped explain it right in, if somebody didn't know anything about it, they would look at this and go, yeah.
But
don't
I
know.
see the way,
Yeah.
well, I see what Brett's saying, that it's implying that we're doing something
It
We
implies
already
that
did
now,
with the last levy, but we muddied it up a little bit with the $12 fee, which only goes to the 703.
What about if we, I mean, we're thinking in progress here. Upon approval, the city will eliminate its $12 monthly public safety fee.
Which was spread across.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Spread across
there you go.
300, something like
that'd be
that.
another way to
That'd be
explain it.
perfect.
And it'd be good to do it right down by that area.
but it's apples and oranges. And
Yeah,
it really is. And we could at any time
We might.
reintroduce that
we might
public safety
introduce
fee.
it, yeah.
So I think we kind of want to avoid, my opinion is maybe we want to avoid any language about that thing at all, other than to say it would be, I don't know if eliminated is the right word, or discontinued, or.
we said we would discontinue it, so I feel like we
Said
have to.
we have to do
what
that.
we said.
But that's not to say that.
Right.
The next guy's not going to come along in 2 years, or the next
Right.
council's going to say, hey, man, we need to do an 18-cent public fee. Or
That's right,
or, I mean,
actually.
I'm just saying,
Yep.
we have to.
Well, discontinued, do you like better than
What
eliminate?
did you say?
I just said rescinded. but it could
Rescind,
be-
is rescind?
Well, we had called it initially sunset. We would sunset it.
Sunset.
Is that what we said?
That's a
Yeah.
good way of saying it. That's kind of a nice. Upon approval, the city will sunset its monthly. So then we'll have to go up and this is probably a good way to do it. I had thought we would go title, question, summary, but I think if we go summary, question, title, it'll work better.
If
We have more words and so
there's a lot of
now,
words in here though.
uh,
See, I thought it was kind of wordy. honestly,
well,
when I
that's
read
me.
that.
So tell me how to.
Well, I don't know. No, I just, it seemed like it makes sense to us when we read this. It makes sense.
Yeah,
to
but
us.
we're the only ones that are gonna dig into it this deep.
Right.
Well, here's what we had last time. So I don't know if you saw on the second page, I have what we had last time. And so in some ways, that's what I started with. And then I also was working on using the sample. And we also, our little committee worked on it and tried to get some other concepts in there. Such as that and this may be too much to say that the amount that we're paying now is the same as it was 12 years ago.
It might be helpful. I don't know. I just, when I look at the two, what we had last time
Yep.
and what we're hoping for our summary review this time, it almost it's almost confusing. It says so much, but the other one prior, it breaks down with actual costs over the coming 5 years.
Well, that's what we have down at the bottom.
now,
Oh, I see it now. Okay, I got that.
now I'm wondering if if instead of the 577, if that should have been the 350 of the calculations I did,
Oh, right, yeah.
because it looks like, that's what it looks like
Yes, right, you're
the
right.
other one did.
Okay, so we've got to redo these numbers. We have to finalize the number too. We have to finalize if it's 350. We came up with 350 last time. And I have a little bit more information from the Kaitolas on that, so I wanted to tell you.
It seems like a lot. I mean, it's nearly double. I'm not saying it's not what we need. I'm not saying that, but
Well, what
man,
we did,
sticker
Brett,
shock
since
is
you
like,
weren't here last time, is we went through the process of discussing, like, what do we need? What's the amount of money that we need? And it's basically like a little over 600,000 to run the police department. And basically what's been happening over the past like 3 to 5, or I don't know how many years, is that as the citation revenue went down, we've just been taking money from other parts of the government to just fill in. And so now we have like 0 reserves anywhere else. So we're kind of like to the point where we have to shift gears. And so the goal here, the idea here was to figure out, could we just do a ballot measure where we're just going to fund it fully and see if we can pull that off. And the consensus of the group was kind of to say, let's decide what we need and then just tell the community, this is what we need. And the alternative would be to, we discussed a little bit like an alternative of like, could we go down an officer or something like that and have it be less, but
that's what worries me is because Part C's going to be done here pretty soon and he's writing all the tickets.
Right.
I mean, what do we do in 2 years when James is done? And all of a sudden this isn't enough.
Well,
I don't think
our
he'd be
ticket
replaced.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's the one writing all the tickets. It's like, that's 100,000. How much did we say that
well,
was?
it's down to 60.
16.
It
Yeah.
used to be like 200,000 or 300,000.
Yeah,
It's now
yeah,
60.
yeah.
So,
I mean, he's paying for himself, don't get me wrong,
But we wouldn't replace him probably.
but,
James?
yeah, but
He's
he's
a
not,
volunteer, isn't he?
but, I mean, he can't hold the department up.
No, but he's a volunteer. My point is that
No, right,
when he's gone,
yeah,
we're not spending,
well,
we're gonna have
that's-
to spend more to replace
that's
him.
why we're at the 350 mark, and that's why unless Ann has some more information now from the
I told us.
from the finance people that are finally helping us, but because we've been so shortchanged over the years, we can't afford our finance person now. We can't afford to do union negotiations. We can't
No,
afford, I mean,
Roofs on the building.
Stuff wiped us
I
out.
mean, we're to the point now where we've robbed all the money.
So here's kind of, we've been, if you look at our revenues for our citation revenues.
Yeah.
They've gone down drastically over 3-4 years.
Since the
The
striping.
road.
Well, we say that since they striped the road, but they striped the road 10 years ago.
When I tried to make,
They
it's
absolutely
been a
did.
long time ago.
It was 10
No,
years
but
ago.
it
when they
was-
striped the road. And so to say that this
But they
this
left it
decline
that way.
occurred.
They
Yeah.
just didn't paint it.
But I'm saying it was like 4 years ago.
And in the
4
last
years.
meeting, we did ask
It
Hank
was 10 years
about
ago.
could other officers be doing more with that? We asked that question. We kind of got an answer that was not really, they weren't doing it right now. I don't know if that was a clear answer.
I don't know what I just don't,
I think we have.
my point is to say that we have been, I myself, I've listened to it and kind of agreed with it that, yeah, it's been the reconfiguration. But again, it was more than, it was 11. It was my first year on, my last term when we decided to let that happen. And they postponed it and postponed it and postponed
But they
the
did.
finalization.
They just finished it. They,
Yeah, I know they did,
after
but they made the
COVID.
lines in the road. They eliminated they changed the configuration 11 years ago.
They ground the road when I was the mayor, and I was the mayor before Pat was the mayor, and Ann's in her 1 year. So that's a minimum of 5 years. And if they did it at the first of my mayorship, that'd be 9 years.
But I was on
Well,
the council, I think.
Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. We're just not going to be able to have this discussion again. Because we had a discussion last week about part of this. If there are questions that come up, Brett, that we need to answer or revisit, then we're just going to have to put them in a side thing and revisit them, or go talk to Hank and try to get answers. Because we all really need to think about this and work on this. One of the big things we came up with last week is that we all have to be on board. And if some people are not on board to do this, then we're not going to succeed. So to succeed, we all have to do our due diligence and understand it and feel like, yeah, this is the right solution. And if it's not, we have to come up with a different one together. And so I think we need to
What is
tonight
success?
focus.
What is success? Is success
Is if we-
passing this levy?
Success is making sure we can keep public safety in our
Right,
community.
okay.
And
A piece of that is this levy.
a piece of that is this levy.
Keeping
This is,
it at current standards.
this is the strategy that we decided, is to try to keep it at the current level of
Yep.
services.
I feel like that's our ultimate goal.
Then to me, the gorilla in the room is James is going to be gone soon. And he's a revenue generator and he doesn't cost us anything. So if that's
Does it
the
cost
case,
anything?
no, he's a volunteer.
The additional.
No, he gets paid.
He
He's
gets
not a
paid. Oh,
volunteer.
yeah, He gets a salary.
Not much.
And he takes a car.
And he takes the
Not
car.
very much. Okay, well, you try and replace him and tell me that he's just,
We're not going to replace him. So we've already discontinued him for half the year. So he's also now he's not getting paid half the year
yeah.
because this is the quiet time of year.
Was he getting paid really?
And I
not
have
very much
noticed
at
that
all?
the police have issued tickets.
I think it's 50.
Other officers in the report have issued tickets,
And
speeding,
Right.
making up.
They could do it. They could do more of it. They don't do it now because he does it all the time, I think, but they do some of it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right,
in the
right, right.
report.
Well, that kind of is why I'm talking about the highway configuration as being the reason we don't have citation revenue.
That's right.
It's been
When
that
we
way
went
for
to
10
one
years.
lane each way.
10 years ago was when we went to one lane each way. I'm telling you, I bet, yes, absolutely.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We went to it. We don't have the revenue. Let's go on.
Do you have a specific question for Hank and we'll get the answer? Do we need to have a more refinement of our answer of what's going to happen when Partee
Please.
retires?
I don't know I'm just trying to dig a hole for everybody to fill in because apparently there's some things that are completely misunderstood. Yes, it went to we dropped that 4-lane highway 10 years ago. And I don't know why you don't remember, but it was. And
So
we
do you
had
think
people
that we
here
should have
talking
the
about-
levy be more?
It was during my first term, my first year of my first term on city council.
Hey, Hank, we have some questions here, so I'm so glad you came back. So, Counselor Webb, we were talking about the amount of the levy and such, and Counselor Webb was asking, you know, what's going to happen when Officer Partee retires, and that he's, you know, because he's kind of such a good deal for us, of course, and will that affect kind of the amount of money that's going to be needed for the department?
I can't think that it wouldn't. He's a net asset without a doubt. I don't know what his retirement plans are at the moment because he's outlived what I thought they would have been when I hired him in 2017. And finding another one of him is going to be,
Like a unicorn.
the odds aren't good. Local, whole career right here, one county over. He's been a gift. I don't know how. I keep you posted. I just don't know. I don't have hopes of finding another him when he's gone.
Right. And one of the other things I would say in response to that question, Brett, is that, so we now have a 4.5 member police department. Hank has said that 4 is the minimum that we can handle. So I've been kind of thinking that's our goal. I mean, 4.5 is sort of the icing.
4 was supposed to pay for 3.
The 0.5 doesn't handle what our problem is, which is on call. He doesn't handle any of that unless it's an emergency and I absolutely need him. And I just call him and he does it. It doesn't cost us anything, but out of the kindness of his heart. So
And when you say he doesn't cost us anything, what is that?
like when my guys are on call, except for me, they make a small stipend. You remember that when I pushed that through in your early council days. So there's a little bit of cost when they're on call again, except for me. And the 4 of us split the on-call hours evenly. Partee's not part of that. So really 4 is, same thing I've said again and again and again, it's our minimum staffing to try and cover 24/7, 365. There's just no other way. We've done it. Remember in the early days, Levi was here and I would lose a body, gain another one, lose a body, gain another one. So even to try and do it at 3 again in this day and age would be silly, honestly.
The 4 was
Another-
paid, the way that we looked at it back in the day was 4 paid for number 3
Mm-hmm.
and 4,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's my concern is that is this going to be enough? And that's all I'm trying to say is that we have some things coming at us here that we should be having our eyes wide open. And
But that's why what we're up against is that it is no longer enough. The citation revenue has dropped quite a lot while costs have gone up quite a
Can I
lot.
say one more thing on that? I forgot to tell you guys until after the last meeting, but you guys are aware the road diet affected us exponentially. But there's something else about that same time, maybe a year later, that I'd forgot to mention to you all. And that was for the longest time, and before I was here, there was a fee on top of every citation we were charging like Gold Beach Muni does. That went away too. And that was a huge hit when that went away. It was a lot. It was about 50% of what Gold Beach charges. But the issue was there was a city in Eastern Oregon, I don't remember the name, that got sued because of that fee and they lost. So our judge learned this from a judge class he went to and recommended that we just not do it and mitigate that liability, that possibility. So, and I'm not disagreeing with the decision, but it did go away above my head in City Hall, and that actually hurt our bottom line a lot too.
That's super helpful to know
I
because
forgot all about
we
that,
were
our
kind
last
of-
meeting till I was done
has
with the
there been
meeting.
any case law since then that you?
I don't know. Judge Milliman would know because he goes to a lot of these judge meetings and he keeps up on it.
He's the gentleman that told us about that.
He was the one that learned of it in a judge meeting and got panicky over it. And David Johnson agreed with him. And I'm not going to disagree with David on it. There was some
and
fear.
the other piece of that, we've discussed this numerous times, that we talk about the citation revenue, and then we say, we're not really supposed to be talking about the citation revenue as part of this. So I think it's sort of ancillary background. The citation revenue does not go into the police fund. It goes into the general fund. And then it goes to pay for the courts. And when there was surplus, it was used in ways that help to support what you're describing. And that's no longer the case. So we came up with the number for the cost of the police department originally we did it by me going back and looking at 5 years of audits and looking at the cost of the police department. And then the Kaitolas basically did the same thing. And they took two projections of cost, like a high level and a low level cost over the next several years. Their high level cost would be about 631,000, I will round up to. And their low level cost was 592. So the average of those two costs is about 611,000. And if you remember what we talked about last week, the 340 was 607 and 350 was 625. So if we go to 350, it's not quite the high end, but it's more than the low end. So that's based on the Kaitola's predictions, which comes from past data, but then they do some analysis of, thinking about costs moving forward. I have a little graph I can show you, but I didn't print it out for everybody because it doesn't really give you that much information.
That's
So
good.
if if James went away, which he'll retire eventually, right? How will we, should we address that now in this levy?
My goal would be to find another James, but it takes me a long time
Okay.
just to find another officer when I lose an officer. Finding a James, which a retiree wants to come out and work just traffic is going to be difficult.
So would we relying more on our patrol officers to work part of that? Is that how that would have to happen?
A couple of them who work night shift, do it all the time anyway, as much as they can,
Right.
who wrap around into night shift. So I don't really know. I can't say that's going to be no, I'm not going to sit there and make a promise I can't keep.
So should
We
we?
lose James,
so
we lose that function, that
we
halftime
lose that
function.
amount of money, do we need to, like you're thinking, maybe we need to take that into consideration?
An increase.
Make it a 360 or,
I mean, now would be the time to,
Because is the 350, is that still taking into account the little bit of slush?
can't say that.
I don't think it's actually taking into account the costs of the police department.
Inflation.
So and inflation.
Because
And
I
so-
thought the reason we had initially gone for the little bit higher was because it would give the police department that little bit of reserve that they might need for like patrol vehicles or things like that. So the 350 doesn't account for that anymore?
No, well, the 350, I think if you look at the budgeting that they did, I'm going to just show you this. There's sort of like ups and downs in the budget over the past 5 years or a little bit longer. So one of those years was a year that there was a vehicle purchased. So I think there's some of that baked into it, but what is not baked into it is, I think, Officer Partee leaving. But the question is, I don't know if we would replace them because, I mean, would we try to go back up to paying for a 4.5 department, or would we have the goal of a 4 department and hope for the best that we could find that? I mean, I think that this is going to be a stretch in terms of money. So that's where I'm thinking a 4 department. Yeah. Counselor Pogwizd.
When is the last time you bought a police car, Mr. Hobart? It's got to be.
When, of all people, when Partee's vehicle got hit head on by the drunk guy and
So that's
crashed.
been,
No, that was only a year ago,
Were we
a
self-insured?
little over a year and a half ago, maybe.
Were we self-insured?
His insurance company kicked in a pretty good amount for crashing, which was thankfully our oldest car. That was the next one that was going to go away anyway. But anyway, that was the last one we bought. RJ drives it now.
and then before that, probably.
Would be with the car that Andrew drives, and that was probably 2 years prior, a year prior, something like that. Because it was
Well-
budgeted, we had it budgeted.
Most all of our vehicles, from what the information you gave me, are pretty low mileage at this point,
A
except
moment.
for one of them.
The next one to go will be the one that Brennan drives, which is a last generation Explorer with was well over 100,000 miles.
That's the one, that's the aged one.
Yeah.
So I was thinking.
Counselor oh, sorry. Counselor Rask?
No,
I was just thinking that we wouldn't be able to replace all the cars, like even half of them. I would figure we'd be back onto like half a car every.
That's what we used to do,
That's
remember?
kind of where I felt
Yeah.
we were gonna be falling with this
Yeah.
figure that we come up with. I didn't think we were gonna be able to go out and buy 2 cars right away.
No, and when Ann helped us a year ago, that's what she was trying to build into it too, like a 10-year plan in her brain.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So-
And that was also when we first did our projections, which are very similar to what the Kitolas came up with. We were using Ann Heath's projections for the future. So we
Correct.
kind of were tapping 2 different financial experts.
That's good. They can.
Hank was saving money, like, the deals that he found us for those cars were insane too.
The
Good.
old Chargers in 2018, yeah, that was a heck of a deal. That's the only reason that David ever went for it.
Counselor Rask, do you have a
I'm
question?
sorry.
I just want to say, as far as, I don't think we should be worrying about something that may or may not occur 2 years from now in this discussion. We don't know what Officer Partey's plans are. We don't know where the city's going to be at that point. We don't know a lot of things, and I don't think that we can really factor that in to this decision.
Yeah, and I think we have to, for purposes, I recognize, Brett, you didn't get to be part of a 2-hour discussion the rest of us had last week or whenever that was, a couple weeks ago. But we have to spend our time coming up with something like this. And then if there are big outstanding questions that remain between now and next Thursday, where we have questions or points that have to be discussed, we need to get the information we need to do. And then we can discuss them before we take action on this. So, and the last day that we have to take action is the 4th Thursday of the month. And so if we have to have another meeting, we can have another meeting. We have to have another meeting anyway. Yeah. Counselor
So
Burns.
if what you're alluding to, Perry, is this is a 5-year levy. So we've got to be taking into consideration the future.
But there's so many unknowns.
But we still, or we go for a 2-year levy. Then we're keeping up with information as it comes in. But if we're doing a 5-year levy and we don't want to have to take money out of the general fund or do another police fee, then we need to, to our best ability, think of the next 5 years.
We have to do the best we can because we can't, so we can't ask the people to double this fee and then go and ask for $12 next year. We're gonna be,
Right.
Have mud on our face.
we'll be shot.
So-
So we have to do the best we can to see into the future, but you're right. There could be a tsunami tomorrow
So the question,
after we buy 4 cars.
the question is, do you want me to go back to the Kitolas and make sure that, this has enough money to continue whatever the part-time rate that we pay Officer Partee. That was included in this budget.
And
So-
his revenue, so we'd be
No,
losing.
his revenue is not part of this.
It's
This is
not.
the cost. This is just the cost.
Mhm.
His revenue is not part of it.
Okay.
The revenue, in the past couple of years, that revenue that's come from citations has pretty much paid for the court, and that's about it. So it's like, that's how it sort of is designed, is the revenue from citations pays for the court. So there is no like citation money really going into the police department right now, is how the budget's working these days.
Yeah.
And it,
That's a very good point. We're gonna need that point when we're in town halls.
but it's never supposed to be that the citation
I know,
revenue
but
pays for the
That
police.
question will come up, trust me.
But that's true. It's going from,
That's a
Into
good
the
point
courts.
and a great answer
Okay.
to that question.
okay.
And the court
So-
comes out of the general fund.
The question, yes, the citation revenue goes into the general fund. The court money comes out of the general
All
fund.
it does is pay for courts.
So do you guys, from what Brett is saying, do we need to go back and ask I mean, is Partee getting paid the same amount, like a decent rate for his halftime work? I mean, he's getting paid halftime, right? Seem to remember
I think
that's
he was
what he's
getting
getting paid.
15,000 a year.
No, it's
Okay.
more like 24. I don't have my budget with me, unfortunately. Would we want to try to project to have a fifth officer into the future? Because,
That's levy failure, guaranteed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm against the fifth officer. I'm saying I think that you're gonna lose so many people.
I'm against it now unless you guys do a bunch of annexing or something and the workload goes up exponentially. I'm not for it either.
so I think the goal of keeping the goal of a four-person force with Mr. Partee is icing, but it is a good question that Brett brings up is like, when he goes away, I mean, is a four-person force?
The model that you currently have and on the halftime fifth position, which is seasonal only, is kind of a no-brainer to use it if you've got somebody to do it because
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
providing other things than just revenue for the courts, as you put it.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they're there when I need them for, if I don't have a body, he could be on call, he just does it.
They slow
He's
people
out,
down.
it just, his presence out there helps keep traffic safer anyway.
Yeah, no, he's fabulous, but I guess we're just looking ahead. Do we need to try to plan for replacing him? Or the money in here would be enough to replace somebody part-time as we do. I mean, that's what it's based on. So do we need to do something different or can we just base it on, which is most economic projections are based on past as evidence for what we need to do?
I think we just stick with what we have and not try to go farther and add any more personnel or any more to
I
to
agree.
our levy right at this time.
So it says here to keep that's kind of back to what it has to be factual, right?
Yep.
To keep the present level of enforcement, which includes a part-time officer.
Where are you reading? Brett?
The summary,
The existing rate is no longer enough to maintain current
right.
levels of service
Given
given
so
rising
that-
costs.
that assumes that is to say that we will be able to afford 4.5 officers at this rate. Because that's what our current level of service is.
Well, we will be able to afford 4.5 if we can hire somebody for half.
Well, it doesn't say that. I mean, I'm just saying it.
Well, but what I'm just saying is we will have the money to do that. I mean, whether or not, it's just kind of like right now, we're not able to hire the finance person.
That's what I'm saying is we can't, can we afford if, say it,
This covers it.
it doesn't, it's not some crazy anomaly to suspect that Officer Partee will be leaving us soon. It's
So
not-
how would
that's
you
not-
propose to rewrite it? Because we have 20
don't
minutes to
know.
get through this whole
I
thing.
think, hey, look,
Is it
all I know,
necessary? Rewrite it?
I don't know. What I'm saying is that if it's not, if the community doesn't like what they see, they're not going to approve it. And we saw what that happened when that happened before.
So
It's
Well,
a
current
scramble.
levels of service is basically Partee works the summer months, basically what, April?
Current, right, you're right. Right.
April to, I
Mhm.
figure we could figure out a way to solve that problem more than we could figure out a way to continue forward at $1.80 per thousand.
I don't think I agree 100%,
Yeah,
but
but you just want it to be clear that the current level of service would be like April through whatever, I don't even know what.
they
the-
expect, well, it's not what Partee, it's not Partee, it's what Partee allows for, which is number 4, which allows for number 3. It's just dominoes.
but it no longer allows for number 3. That was the way it was set up in the past, but that's not the way it's working now. We've taken money from other departments to pay for the police is what we're saying. So it no longer works that way. So now we're trying to come up with a sustainable, forward-looking
Understood.
source of funds for this is what we're trying to do.
You're right. Citizens can come forth and say, hey, we don't see the guy that's usually out there writing the tickets, you know? I don't know.
Well, we could
Citizens
say-
are pretty perceptive.
Do you want to say, I mean, we could add in to main current levels of service, which entail 24/7 on-call service and seasonal traffic. I mean, I don't think we want to say seasonal traffic because we want, if there's somebody speeding in the winter, we want our officers to be able to get them.
Right.
And maybe you just say part-time. I don't know what you say. I don't, maybe we're trying to say too much.
That's right.
I think that's what I'm
Keep it
trying.
That's what I'm afraid of too,
I'm
trying to
way
say too much and
It's
scuttle
too-
yourself.
It's too wordy, kind of, I am afraid. That's all. And I know I
Okay,
wasn't here last week, but I'm not just gonna sit here and go for the okey doke if it doesn't resonate with me.
I know, well, so what we need is constructive, we need
So I
constructive
keep asking
comments.
questions and I'm trying to lead you down that path to your constructive
But
idea.
I agree with your statements 100%. I agree. So at first you said when we started this conversation was we were a little too lengthy. I do agree with that. I think we need to make this thing as
Clear and
push it
concise.
down and make it as clear as we can, because I mean, when we first started this whole process, our first sentence pretty much shut us down, and we changed that around and fixed it because we were not communicating properly. But I think we need to squish this down. And then if we're hung up on, I don't know how to fix that one problem without pointing it out that it's a seasonal.
Maybe you say much, much less, maybe it's the first two lines. And then say currently $1.80 is not enough and what was needed is $3.50. It'd be done. Because the rest of it is just kind of,
Well, we have to have this thing about repeal and replace. That's.
I was just gonna say that.
We have to have
The
the
350
repeal and
would do
replace.
away with.
understood.
So it is a little bit more complex than what we had last time because it's not just replacing.
And the water and the fee attached to the water
Yes,
bills too.
we have to say we're eliminating that. So we did try to make it as simple as we could. And that's why we've been working at it for several weeks, but
I gotta tell you, I don't understand a lot of these when I read them, but this one I do. I think it's good.
It's pretty crazy though. Sometimes you open that book and you read,
Yeah.
and then you're like, you can't figure out what they're, and
Right.
then you read the rebuttals, and then you're like, huh,
Exactly. And
oh,
I think
somebody that
this-
you think might understand it better than
well,
you.
some of the
people that are
stuff
gonna-
too is required. If you look at the requirements, it's
right.
kind of like you have to
Yes.
say, this, it replaces it, like the way you have to describe the 350 per thousand or, for 5 years beginning in fiscal year. I mean, you have to have like all of these requirements of what you have to say. So,
The one thing, this measures cost is estimated at $170 more per year for each police services and response.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that's the wrong line there.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, go down.
Each 100,000.
missed
of
it.
assessed value.
Yeah. See, sir, it goes down.
yeah, okay, for each of assessed value.
so we'll,
But it really, I did the math. If you're under a certain assessment, you're actually going to pay less with this levy.
Right.
Yeah.
The people that don't have as much.
Yeah,
won't be
they
paying
will
as
pay less than they're
Yeah.
paying now.
Yeah, and so that's another thing. It's inaccurate. To
Measures
say that
cost
it's
is
gonna cost-
estimated
well,
as per year more for each 100,000.
assessed
assessed.
value.
much. So if your place is worth 500,000, you're
Yeah,
going
no,
to be
you'll
paying
pay-
5 times
Sure.
170.
Which is the way that works. I mean, that's why it's so important to have our stuff reassessed.
Well, yeah, and it depends on whether you are paying the utility or not. That makes a difference. I should have just printed this out for everybody.
and we tried to, it was in, you remember I did that last time. I had the different amounts for if your house was this much or that much or whatever. But it seemed like that was too hard to put in here. Although right now, if we get rid of that last sentence entirely, we have at least 50 more words, but that we could use, or we could put in an example if you wanted to. But if you want to just keep it simple, I think the question is, let's get rid of that last sentence. We need the estimate, that thing at the bottom about it is estimated. That
Mhm.
has to be in there. We just have to get the right numbers in.
Right.
So maybe let's just go back from the beginning and look at each sentence one by one and see if it can be fixed to make everybody happy. Okay? So this first sentence, the purpose of this local option tax measure is to provide adequate funding for operations of the Port Orford Police Department. And I'll say we have to use the word operations because you have to say if it's operations or capital.
Mhm.
And then the example says local option tax measure. I didn't know if we could say just levy, but we did it last time. We said local option tax measure. So anyway,
Okay,
Local option levy.
I don't know if we need that second sentence, actually. The existing 180 is,
I'm questioning that as well.
well, let's do the first sentence. Let's just be
Okay.
methodical here because you guys,
Okay.
we're going to go all
Okay.
over the map unless
Go
we
ahead.
stay
And
focused.
reread.
The purpose of this local option tax measure is to provide adequate funding for operations of the Port Orford Police Department.
I like it. I think it needs to be there.
Yeah, much simpler.
it's a good way to open.
Actual.
Okay.
Correct.
So do we have a consensus on
Mhm.
for now? And remember, we are not making the decision until next week, but this is where we're
Right.
trying to get it to. Okay. The next sentence, and I'll say the little clause in there I wondered about. The existing rate of 180 per thousand, same as it was 12 years ago, is no longer enough to maintain current levels of service given rising costs.
Take out same as it
As
was
well.
12 years ago.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah,
you either know or you don't know.
yeah,
And it doesn't,
it's
you
not
don't really
relevant.
need to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not that you're
It's
hiding it, it's just,
interesting,
it's,
Unless you put it up against
but it's
the,
really,
the historic costs of every levy, that would be maybe helpful. I mean, and 190, 180.
Well, that's something we could talk about in our public talking, that we still have the same rate as we did 12 years ago, but the costs have basically gone up
yeah.
quite a lot. So here's what it says now. The existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current levels of service given rising costs.
How about just given rising costs? Is that, well,
I see why you had the 12 in there because we haven't changed it in 12 years.
Yeah, I think it has impact.
well,
do you?
it did change though, didn't it?
You think that has impact mentioned in the
I
12
do.
years? Okay.
Yeah.
And so the way I look at it was,
Yeah.
how come you could do it for 12 years, but you can't do it now?
Right.
That's the way I look at it, but that's just,
And I
Because
see
we
that.
were like,
and I know why, because I've been involved with this, and inflation also has been a killer for 5-6 years now, and insurance, I mean, gosh, PERS, healthcare, everything has gone up. It's just,
Exactly.
it's like, put your mouth up and hope you can keep it above the water.
Yeah, and to say, we can stay where we are, it's just not possible.
I don't see how. So
Any
we're kind
other-
of up in the air on whether we mention the 12 years.
kind of sounds like there were some pretty strong feelings against it and for it. How about if we just generally, what do you think, Deanna?
I can kind of see that, it shows that the city hasn't really been trying to
Yeah,
stick it to the
Right.
constituents
Yep.
by going with a lower rate for 12 years.
that's true. That's a good point.
Can we just say it different? Can we say the existing rate of $1.80 has remained the same or something? I mean,
Well,
One
it
thing
hasn't
is-
remained the same because it
I
went
know
up
it
to
went up,
190,
went
then it went
down.
back down to
Yeah, no, I
180.
know.
So that's why this seemed to be the most.
Yeah,
already- that's the lowest.
Why don't-
It's been.
You might wonder, I understand your point in taking it out because people are going to go, so what have you been doing for 12 years?
Well, but then
Either
and then
that
I
or-
think if we're going to mention the 12, we should explain it, and we shouldn't be afraid to say that we failed. But while we've been able to keep the level, the 180 per thousand for the last 12 years, we have failed to maintain services due to rising costs. I don't know.
But it hasn't been 180 because we did go up to
I
190
know,
so it's
I know. And
confusing.
That's a whole nother thing where you have to try to explain that if you're going to include that.
So maybe we should maybe the simplest thing to do is
Take it
just
out.
take
less
it
is
out.
more.
And
It's-
so then,
But it is the existing rate.
so
It
the,
is.
Well, then we
It
s-
is. And
It
well,
is.
that's what we said.
so we,
or
I
you
mean,
could
take
say
out the
the
same as
existing rate
12
that was
years.
Established in,
If I was reading it, I would say, geez, it hasn't changed in 12 years. Yeah, we got to change it because there's no way that
Yeah.
anybody could keep
Well,
up.
it
with
kind of,
But
the $12 fee, it seems like to me ought to be up in that area. Because we're going to eliminate the $1.80 and the $12 fee when it comes in, where it does come in.
Makes sense.
I don't know, it doesn't seem
Yeah,
like the
and-
right place, but
The
I'm sorry,
12
maybe we
years,
could say, excuse me, maybe we could say something, so given rising costs and the difference was made up partially with the $12 fee, which we're now willing to eliminate.
Yes.
I mean,
You haven't had it that long.
something like, we've attempted to fill in the gaps with the $12 fee.
we temporarily, how about this? We temporarily instituted a $12 fee, but are now turning this measure to voters.
back to the voters.
This measure will repeal the levy, and upon it, it will, if approval, it will,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like,
Eliminate the $12 fee.
so the existing rate is no longer enough to,
Keep in mind, I agree with you and I agree with you, Deanna, on that point about the 12 years. But then I start wondering about, we speak about 12 years and a $12 monthly fee. Is that going to confuse people even further?
It's because of 212s.
212, right? I mean, it's just, I don't know if you guys think
I thought that myself.
Joseph has
You could
something.
replace 12 years with for over a decade.
it wasn't, it's
Except it would
same as it
change.
was a decade ago. Same as it was more than a decade ago. We could say that if you want to keep that in, but
Yeah, that might be good. Yes.
Same as. it
Has been the
was.
same for a decade.
it hasn't though,
It
because it
hasn't?
went up to 190 in the middle and then it got reduced again to 180. So that's why it's confusing.
How about has remained under $2 for over a decade?
Oh,
That's good.
That might work.
yeah.
And it may be just me thinking the 212s are going to confuse people.
No, I thought of it too. I really did before you said it.
Except now we're going up to over 3.
Yeah, okay, the rate is this and it's not enough and we have to go to this.
Can we take this measure will repeal the existing levy and the $12 monthly public
Yeah.
safety fee
I like
and
that.
replace it with the $350 per thousand levy?
Not really, because this measure the measure does not eliminate the fee. We can't say that.
The city will eliminate.
With this, if
Well,
we pass it, it will, but
Okay,
this
so then you
measure,
put, this measure will repeal the existing levy and the city will eliminate the $12 public safety fee.
Upon approval.
And
That's what
replace it with.
but we have to say repeal and replace. We have to say we have to repeal the levy and replace it. I kind of feel like that concept needs to be together.
yeah, it's very important that they understand that one. We learned.
Because we're not adding another levy on. We're repealing the levy and we're replacing it. And then we're going to sunset the other thing.
Yeah, which verbiage tripped us up at one time and it
Yep.
failed. And I'm afraid, looking back on this now, we should have probably taken a loan out for $100,000 and not put a $12 fee on, because I think that's mucked this thing up even worse. And it's just made it so fluid. It's just like, wow.
But those people that are upset over that will now have an opportunity to vote.
Right.
We
Well,
can
and
take that excuse away from them.
Yeah, and I'm not even looking at it so much. It's just like, we're struggling to do what we do and we're getting it done, but then we have to explain it in this next levy. And it's like, it's not easily explainable.
Do we want to wait? Do we want to wait?
The thing about waiting is
We're going to run out of money.
we're going to run out of money.
Yeah.
In June 31st. And two, I personally think we need to send a clear message to our public safety staff that we got this thing straightened out and you guys are good. You know, you got a job.
The current levy expires when? When does, if,
We still have 3.5 years on that. But
But it doesn't give us enough money.
no, it doesn't give.
but we could, there's other things you could, it's just, if they say no, then they're saying no. I guess we continue with what we have then.
We will, but we're not going to have enough money. So
I
then we're going to have to, we can't continue with what we have now.
We have to really educate the public on this. We really need to go and ask for their help.
And that's going back to the steps of this.
Mhm.
We had numerous steps, and the steps after, the step at the moment is we have to do this. And then there's the step of getting organized to figure out how to educate the public.
Yeah,
But-
no, this is the first,
This
this
is-
is the most important part.
This is a very important part.
And then the,
Okay, so let's go back to what we've got. So the second sentence, we're just going to get rid of that same as it was 12 years ago because it creates some complexity. We'll just keep it simple. The existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current levels of service given rising costs.
Yeah.
Is that simple enough? Okay.
what about with like something like with the passage of this levy at 350 per thousand? I'm trying to think like Deanna's thinking, trying to get how to explain we're going to eliminate the $12
It's in the
fee.
next sentence.
Pardon me?
It's
In the next sentence.
Yeah, I know. I just wondered if that really clearly,
Yeah.
I mean, it says up on approval, the city
Yeah.
will eliminate the $12 fee.
Okay, so let's go to the next sentence. Let's just go through the next sentence. This measure will repeal the existing levy and replace it with a 350 per thousand levy for 5 years, beginning in fiscal year 26-27.
So that would be July 1. Which is fiscal year 27.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that where you put it also
Yeah.
stops the fee,
The next sentence says,
Next sentence.
upon approval, the city will sunset its $12 monthly public safety fee.
there you go.
Which is what we moved and what we
So what do you do
to as a council.
for those months in between?
Well, I think this would start in 2026.
It would, yeah. it's just-
627.
Yeah.
It would be fiscal year 27,
We
right?
would just roll right into July with the new levy.
But
We
the
don't collect
tax,
monies until November, I believe.
Right.
so
And?
they won't be taxed until November, and
Yeah.
your next payment, that could be almost a full year.
No, they will get taxed right starting then, I think.
Right, but the payments,
Won't come till November.
I mean, so you got 9 months potentially from the time that this is passed, when you eliminate the fee.
No, it's from May
It's,
It
you're
goes into
assuming
being-
if everybody pays their bill in full
in
in
November.
November, that's what,
Yeah.
it would be 5 months.
Right. Yeah.
But because it allows for 3 payments.
Yeah.
It's possible that it could go until May.
And that actually
March
brings
or
up
May.
another thing, which, let's go back. I'm going to just, well, I'll mention it now, but we should stay focused on just getting the language right, because this is focused on the amount of money, which is, we're supposed to figure that you need 3% more than you need because of that. And when we did the very first take at this, we added 3% to it. And now we have not added 3%. So we have 3% more than, we certainly have 3% more than the low projection, but we have, let's see, what do we have? Anyway, we might have to, the 350 gets us, yeah, we probably have 3% more. But anyway, I have to double check that number. It's pretty close.
Okay.
Anyway, okay.
So that's been considered, the amount of time between,
Yeah, you're supposed, I think so. I'm going to double check that, Brett. Yeah, I think the number will work out. So then it would say, upon approval, the city will sunset its $12 monthly public safety fee.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Sunset.
that wouldn't be sunset.
Everybody understand what sunset means?
That's not what a sunset is.
Is there rescind, eliminate? I don't know.
Eliminate.
Eliminate sounds good. I like eliminate. Yes, well, we're going to eliminate that fee.
Go back to eliminate.
Bye, see ya.
Should we put something on there that says it's $12 monthly public safety fee recently added to your water bill or something? I mean,
Well, they're
people
all
may
very-
go, what public safety fee are they talking about?
They are asking what public safety, and
Well-
they haven't looked at their bill.
Well, we
I
could,
don't look at mine.
we could
It's
say,
on auto pay.
we could say upon approval, the city will eliminate the $12 monthly public safety fee recently added to your water bill. I mean, we could,
Yeah, like I say, mine's on auto pay, so I don't even see it.
does people like that? Or is it more words?
Well, it's just, it'll recently added,
To your utility bill is what.
it's gonna add 5 words, but I think we've lost.
We have a ton of words. We have
Yeah.
like 15
Yeah.
words.
It's gonna
Right.
get people irked because we added the 12, I mean.
Yeah, are we
it's gonna
bringing
be a
up,
little-
are we bringing up something we've gotten
That's
over?
right.
Well,
A negative.
Could we do it something like your first line? And then bolster that with the fact that we had to implement that public safety fee, which would be say, this is no longer enough. And that's evidenced by the $12 public safety fee, which would be eliminated if we pass this day. I mean, maybe it's in there, but
Just a simpler
that's simple.
is the
That's way simpler. You would eliminate half of this whole paragraph if you said that.
Yeah, because when people start reading this paragraph, if they get too many questions going in their head, it's gonna be easier just to vote no than it is to try to understand it.
correct.
That simple.
But the other side of the coin is if there are some things that you can tell them in there that can make a difference.
That's true too. That's why we have to
No.
choose the most important stuff.
Right. I mean, you want to be sure that they have everything they need to know.
Right, right.
Okay, so Brett, your counter proposal is the purpose of this.
Well, it's just to say that would get it up there in the discussion, like here, this is proof that we don't have enough money. And we will eliminate this if we get this much money. It would seem to eliminate all those words that.
But you have to have this thing about stating. the
Sure, yeah, I'm
existing
talking about that. I'm talking about all these other things that's no longer enough to maintain current levels, given the cost, repeal and replace, all that stuff. And then we get down to where it says the public safety fee. It just seems like you could move that up because that's a selling point. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be down there in the wash, I think. I think it's kind of a selling point.
Hand up too.
Chris, if-
This was going back to what Barry was saying. I don't think it's important to have all the information in the ballot measure. That's what the component
is
of
for.
public education is for. And why it's so important that we do our due diligence, to make sure the public is educated. What goes in the ballot should be what is necessary to get the law in place.
And don't forget, this also has to be approved. So this has to be like very kind of bare bones. It has to be approved by, I don't know if you have to approve it or
Clerk.
county clerk. that
The
approves it.
Secretary of State, if there's a question.
Could we take that, the $12 monthly public safety fee, could we take that and bump it up to, given, in this sentence 2, the existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current levels of service given rising costs, which resulted in a $12 public safety fee
That's
for the
what I'm
utility
asking.
bills.
That's what I'm
Right.
asking for.
Yeah, that's where it should be, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
About,
Because you're evidencing it and it's all right. It seems to me like it's all right there. Cleaner. I don't know.
but then we're still going to have have to have the sentence to say we're going to get rid of the recent public.
Well, you have enough words left down here that you could say that when you talk about repeal and replace.
Okay, how about this? How about how about starting it with, given rising costs, the existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current levels of service, which resulted in the recent public safety fee. Recently,
Just ask AI to do it.
Recently adopted public safety fee,
The current,
which,
or the current or recent,
which
Right.
will be, and then you can just go right into that next sentence, which would be eliminated.
But we can't because we have to say what the measure's about. We can't, we haven't
Oh,
said what the
yeah, I
measure's
get it.
about.
I
yet.
understand.
The measure will eliminate the $12 public safety fee. It would just, it kind of makes us have to put it in twice.
But the measure doesn't make us,
No, it doesn't.
doesn't force us to take away the $12
Right,
public safety fee.
right. But we're saying upon approval that we will eliminate it.
Because we voted on that. That's the motion. On approval, that we would eliminate it.
Yeah.
Joseph has his hand up.
Yes, Joseph.
I hate to inform the council this, but it is past 7.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to extend the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any, we'll call for the vote. Counselor Rask,
No.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brennan,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Pogwizd.
Him, yes.
Okay, do we need to take a moment of break or anything? Or I think we're kind of in the throes of this, so we should
Just keep
probably,
going.
yeah.
Anybody needs to take a break, take it.
I'm paying attention. My eyes are just killing me. And I'm just
Yeah,
shutting my
that's-
eyes and
yeah.
listening.
That's fine. I had dinner plans at 7, but I'm gonna push it off a few more minutes.
Yeah, I had plans at 7:15 too. So, but anyway, we got it. I mean, this is super important. So either we're going to do it tonight or we're just going to have to schedule another meeting.
Can we get through the summary?
That would be great if we could.
We're super close here, I think.
So if we switch to what we were just saying, we would say, given the existing rate of 180 per thousand, which resulted in the recent public safety fee or recently adopted public safety fee, this measure will repeal the existing levy and replace it with a 350 per thousand levy for 5 years, beginning in 26-27. Upon approval, the city will eliminate the public safety fee. Do we replace it? Or the first time I just said a public safety fee. The second time, say $12?
I would say the $12.
Because that really clarifies
But
it.
I think we're losing the is no longer enough to maintain the current levels of service, and I think that's a rather important sentence.
One thing that,
Or partial sentence.
No, we have it. It
Oh, you
says,
have it?
given the rising costs, the existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current
Okay.
levels of service,
Didn't mention it.
which resulted in the
Okay,
thing.
Good.
But that is a much longer sentence.
It is a much longer
So
sentence.
if you guys like it, are you sure you like it that long? To me, it seems like that ends up getting less
I
clear.
think it's
But
too
anyway,
long and too, yeah.
Okay.
identify the gap, if we identified the gap in numbers, you would eliminate all of this discussion, all the wordiness of it. 'Cause you're supposed to, when you're writing a levy, you're supposed to identify the gap, the shortfall.
Uh-huh.
And so therefore, this amount will fix that. And it just takes a lot of words out of there. It's evident. It's just wholly evident when you look at the gap.
so you mean like go back and start from scratch and
I don't know
rewrite it?
about that. I'm just telling you that if a person currently, we have a deficit or our deficit is this much dollars. This much, we'll give you that much and eliminate that. And then it's done. It's just these I don't know, maybe people like a lot of conversation or reading on that stuff, but it seems
Well,
like less.
I
is
guess
more.
I don't see how there's so many words. I mean, we have to have the repeal and replace sentence.
Yeah.
We don't, maybe we get rid of the purpose and we just say the existing rate is no longer, I mean, I guess I don't know quite how to, we have to say the basics. So I don't,
Well, just compare it to what we had last time.
yeah, which is what I modeled it on.
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah, I think that part was pretty close. And we thought we could eliminate the FY 2024, blah, 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 but that's all got to be stated in the measure. We have to state that. That's why it's still in here. That's why it's in both of them, because that's the first thing we thought we could eliminate, but we can't. And we have to say that it's estimated. We have to say that as well.
Well, actually, you know what? We don't have to say this, by the way, this last sentence. We don't have to say because we made a mistake last time. I went back and read it very carefully. And there are two different ways to do a tax. There's a way where you do it by the rate, which is like, you know, the 180 per thousand, or you can do it for the amount. And then you say, we have to raise, it's actually what Brett is saying now.
Right,
We
right.
have to raise like $500,000. And then you say that's estimated to cost everybody 0.3%.
Okay,
So that only is needed when you do it that other way.
okay.
But we've always, I gather, we've always done it the rate way.
Can you read it through as you've made the adjustments?
Okay. The purpose of this local option tax measure is to provide adequate funding for operations of the Port Orford Police Department. Given rising costs, the existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current levels of service, which resulted in the recent adopted public safety fee. This measure will repeal the existing levy and replace it with a 350 per thousand levy for 5 years beginning in fiscal year 27 or 26, 27.
But it doesn't say we're removing the $12.
Well,
Upon approval, the city will eliminate the $12 monthly
Okay,
public
then-
safety fee.
I know it's long, but it's complete.
should say upon passage of
Yep.
this levy.
Yep, 'cause
Instead of
that's-
approval.
That's the way we said we would take it, only if the levy passed, I
Right.
believe.
Mhm.
And we should be very clear about that, which probably, I think Joseph's already looked that up.
Upon passage of the levy, the city will eliminate the $12 monthly public safety fee. If not repealed and replaced, the existing levy will continue, but the city will be forced to reduce police services and response.
Potentially. Oh, yeah,
I
no,
mean, that sounds pretty cut and dry to me.
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It sounds like you either understand it or you don't.
Or, I mean, you could actually double the public safety. I mean, would we just say, oh, well, that's it? Or would we try to?
Is
Make
the
something
main thing that we would be losing the 24 on call?
So I had a conversation with Melissa about this the other day, because I know Hank, we'd had a conversation where not with Hank, sorry, where Tim was saying, are we really going to like cut 24/7? And the thing is this, if somebody is getting attacked in the middle of the night, our officers would still respond. But in general,
That nobody would be getting paid?
it would be a little bit more like what's happening in the county, or there'd be more cases where like they would respond in emergency, but like right now, if somebody's dog is barking, they can go over there in 7 minutes. Or, people are used to our police respond pretty quickly. And we may not be able to be as responsive if we had to go down a person, let's say, or if we didn't have, like if this doesn't pass and we don't have enough money for 4 or something, and we don't come up, I mean, those are the questions that we would have to face at that point. So that's why I ended up revising. We had discussed initially saying, would we get rid of 24/7? And I don't know if you have anything to say about that, Hank. I don't think you could say we'd get rid of that. It's just that it would be much harder for a smaller number of officers to actually pull that off. And so necessarily you'd have a different kind of response. You'd have less quick response
I don't
times.
think it belongs in there because it's not like you call the police department at 2 a.m. and they just send a guy over because of a barking dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, there's no,
Yeah.
I mean, well, we're not going to call anybody out for that one. You know
Right.
what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But if there was a gunfight, sure, they'd be there. But
Yeah.
I think it's best to keep that out because people are going to say, what? I called before and when I heard a noise and nobody came. So that's, I think, a good thing to take out.
Yeah.
Good.
Really good thing to take out.
Okay, and then it finally says this measures cost, this is the required part. The measures cost is estimated at, well, actually, I don't know if this part is required. I think, no, the measures cost is estimated at $170 more per year for each $100,000 of assessed value.
I don't know if that even really adds anything.
Maybe we don't say anything. I think the reason we were putting that in there is because I think we're kind of trying to say, I think a selling point is that basically people who have a lot of property are the ones who are paying this. And I did run some numbers. I don't have them with me right. Oh, I do have them with me. The top 10 taxpayers, the top 3 taxpayers, a couple of them are like telecom companies. They're,
Is that right?
yep. There's There's sort of an upper echelon of people. Oh, do you have it? Okay. Here, let me see it.
I don't,
I just was running preliminary numbers on this just to try to put my head around this. This is not for the ballot measure, but this is more for communications later. But just so you guys know, we have 6 parcels in our community assessed at over $1 million. We have 25 between 500 and $1 million. We have 262 that are between 200 and 500,000. And there's 373 that are between 100 and 200,000. And then we have about 420 that are below 100,000. And that number of the number of lots that is below 100,000, like initially I thought, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But of that 420, there's a little over 100 of those that are kind of unbuildable lots. So they're the ones that are actually tacked on to the big ones. So, but that's just to show we've kind of got like these echelons of people. And by shifting it to a property tax, it's the big property owners that are going to be paying the bigger part of the bill. So,
well,
And I ran the numbers for if you're 75,000, 150, 250 and 400, what that looks like. So, I can put in a format so people can know, I vote for this. It's if it's 75,000 and you already pay the water bill, you're going to save $46 a year.
the $12 fee you're talking.
Yeah, because that $12 fee is at 1.92% on a 75,000. So, it's,
Yeah.
So
the thing
that's-
we got to sell in a,
right,
when we're in town halls.
right.
so the question is, because we have to do, I ended up thinking, because initially, Gary, you were trying to get this to this idea of how this spreads the cost differently than the whatever, but it gets too complicated. And so, we even had something more complicated that we simplified down to this. So the question is, if we simplify it down to what we've just discussed, get rid of the ending, get rid of the thing in the middle, do we want to have anything further or should we just keep it simple and have everything? Do we want to try to add any of this? The other thing is, I know Sarah mentioned to me, you thought that we should have a sentence in here about what do people get for their money? Like, you will get, does it go in here or is it in our communications? What do you get for your money? You get public safety, peace of mind,
Well,
That should be part of our talking points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
talking
Okay.
points. They should be bulletized. Like we spoke,
Because we're saying we're going to maintain our current services. We say that in this.
Yeah.
This thing, so we're not,
well,
and that's what we have to define when we're speaking
Right.
to the public.
a lot of people don't even realize what their current services are. Like if a person dies, they come and they wait until the coroner comes. If the coroner don't come for 6 hours, the officer waits there for 6 hours. They can't leave the body.
Welfare checks.
Welfare checks, DHS, it goes on and on and on
Suicides.
and on and on.
Accidents.
And these are the kinds of things I know when we did the last levy and I ended up going out and talking to groups of people and we're telling them things like this, they were kind of like, oh, I never knew that, So those are things that are talking points.
They do, but they're just in the back of their mind. People elect us to sort this out because they don't want to worry or think about it.
Okay, so I think so the question is, should we just get rid of the measures cost as estimated to be 170 more per year? Because basically it's going from 180 to 350, which is $1.70.
Which,
It's not an accurate statement, and Brett brought it up earlier, and Sarah just proved it, that it's really not an accurate statement
No,
because it may lower some people's.
Well, no, I'm talking about, it is going to estimate to cost 170 more per year for $100 of assessed, 100,000 of assessed value.
The 180 from
I think it's
350.
less than 100.
Yeah.
But I liked it, actually, I liked it, and I didn't like it that much when he had it broke down to $16 a month. You could wrap your mind around $16 a
You
month.
save.
100,
Yeah.
you save, 170. I don't know.
But then that didn't work because that was apples and oranges because
Right.
that only worked for the first 100,000.
I
So,
I think we just ended at the police services and response.
Yes,
Period,
right.
stop.
okay.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to read through it once more with what I have and I'll type it up and try to get it out to you all again. Well, we have to get it out tomorrow because the agenda is coming out tomorrow. So that will go out tomorrow as part of the agenda.
Okay.
And then we can think about it and work on it more next time. But let me just read it to you. The purpose of this local option tax measure is to provide adequate funding for the operations of the Port Orford Police Department. The existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current levels of surface. Oh, whoops, I was going to put given rising costs first.
First, yeah.
Given rising costs, the existing rate of 180 per thousand is no longer enough to maintain current levels of service, which resulted in the recently adopted public safety fee. This measure will repeal the existing levy and replace it with a 350 per thousand levy for 5 years, beginning in 26-27. Upon passage of the levy, the city will eliminate its $12 monthly safety fee. Should I just, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be in there somewhere.
If not repealed and replaced, the existing levy will continue, but the city will be forced to reduce police services and response, period. And then we have to fix up these numbers and redo the math and make sure that those numbers are all correct.
I think we've done good work. I
Okay,
think we've made it clearer,
okay,
and I think
Simpler.
that's one of the most important things.
okay. What do you think, Brett, with that change? You're
That's,
still,
And thank you
yeah,
for
I know.
being our
I
writer.
mean, I struggle with the whole, I'm struggling with the thing. I mean, I know that we need to do it, so I'm here with this, but I personally like the public safety fee because the user is the one that has to pay for it. You know, the ultimate user of the service is who you would like to pay for it. And the telephone company isn't using it. You know what I mean?
well, but so here's the thing. So I looked at some alternatives. What would the alternative be? And we discussed this a little bit last time, but we didn't discuss this fully last time, which would be what would happen if we decided to split it and have it be half tax and public safety fee and continue that along, which still doesn't, it's not enough what we're doing right now. So that would mean we'd have to either raise the levy or raise the public safety fee. And so,
You have that, we're not doing it. I mean,
Raise the public safety fee to like $72 or something.
well, if it was all fee, it would be $72 a month. If we were trying to raise 200,000, it would then be $24 a month. But what we need to raise is more like 3,000. So it's more like $36 a month. So,
Yeah.
so then it would be $36 a month. It's like $450 a year for extra. So that's,
I get it. No, I get it.
Except you're not getting that from people who aren't,
It's
like,
gonna
from
be
those top 3
cheaper.
lots.
right.
It'll be cheaper for most people, 1 to 300, 400,000.
To pay the
To
tax.
go the tax route and have people with the higher property.
I understand that. That's what I don't like about it. Honestly, I mean, it's not, it seems unfair.
Well, I
It
think
seems unfair that
I think
somebody
it's,
doesn't have to pay a nickel for police service and you have to pay.
Yeah, but
And I'm just saying.
but when you have property in town, then you're getting public safety for your land if somebody's trespassing or whatever. And then the other thing is, I was thinking about this, I think from a policy perspective, you know, when we talk about housing and people from other places buying up second homes and living somewhere else and all that kind of stuff, and that doesn't always serve our community very well. This is a way that kind of would make people who are speculators and have the second homes and stuff
yeah.
to say, well, gosh, maybe I don't want to keep paying in the tax. I'm going to sell it to somebody who's going to live there, you know?
Sometimes they do. A lot of houses, I don't know if you guys noticed, Bandon, there's a lot of 900 to a million plus houses in Bandon for sale right now for some reason.
The economy's shit.
Okay, so let's,
Yeah,
guys-
I was surprised at how many.
okay, can we please just quickly take a look at the title?
Yeah.
Or we can save this for next week if we want to. But if people have things about the title, I think the more we can get done today, the better.
The title was the 10 words, correct?
Yes, it's only 10 words.
What's the requirements of that one, of the title? Are there title requirements?
Yeah, just go to the second page. It's the requirements. All of these meet it, basically.
I like the last one except for the word drop. I think that should still be eliminated.
Yeah.
I like number 2.
Eliminate fee. I like number 3.
Does
Increase
anybody like
the-
number one?
Increase the levy and eliminate the fee. But it doesn't say anything about retiring the other levy. Neither of them do. Well, yeah, the first
Yeah,
two
they say
do.
eliminate fee.
So the third one's not
So
gonna
it says
work.
do not put name.
The body is the city, not the police department.
Do not
Actually, I like number one. It says everything we need to
I
say.
like one.
Replace the levy, eliminate the fee to fund the Porter for police. We don't need department in there, I don't believe.
And we don't need to say repeal? Repeal and
That's
replace?
the same as two.
It says replace levy and eliminate fee. That's, you're right, it doesn't say repeal.
All right, number 4 is repeal and replace.
Yeah.
And eliminate instead of drop.
Yeah,
We could say repeal and replace levy, eliminate fee to drop police, or eliminate fee to fund police.
I like that.
We have to say Port Orford Police? We have,
It's local police.
I know it says local.
Well, we had to, because these are all the 10 words only, so you're
10.
kind of tight.
it's just, I wish there was a better way to say repeal and replace and keep it under 10 words, and there's not.
Could we do, instead of local police, POPD, so it's one word?
This is 10 words, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if we can do POPD. I mean, that seems like, what do people, I don't know if
What is
people would
that?
know what that is.
Police department.
Yeah, I know, but they might be going.
I might think it's the dispensary.
I said POPD, not POPS.
I know, but everybody does.
Oh, instead of local police, just the police department?
I like local police.
I think the word department, yeah. Well, I thought department actually sounded good because otherwise it sounds like you're giving the cash directly to the police, you know? Or we could say to fund public safety.
I like that
Fund
better.
police department. Eliminate
Say fund
local.
Public safety.
I don't know if everybody even knows what public safety is.
That's right. That's one of those, that's like a euphemism. That's like the wonky thing.
when you
Some
first
people.
became a counselor, how much you really understood a lot of these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And you're right.
assume-
I agree
Yeah.
with your
Police.
statement. And it's not because it's just people they elect us to make these decisions because they don't want to think about it.
Mm.
It's
What
that
if-
simple, honestly.
We're busy
So-
though.
So repeal and replace levy, comma, eliminate fee to fund local police. Is that the last one with,
Fund the police department and eliminate local. I mean, take the word out.
to fund police department?
Does it have to sit? I mean, when you read it, you would learn that it would eliminate fee. Would it, just say to fund or police department? I mean, does it need to say? You would read it anyway, right? You're gonna read the language in it.
What about repeal existing levy and eliminate fee to fund police department?
What did you say?
That's good.
Repeal
What do we wanna do
existing
with-
levy and eliminate fee to fund police department.
Yeah, but we have to
10
replace it.
letters.
But we have to replace the levy. We can't just repeal it, eliminate it. We're trying to institute, that will get
But that's,
dinged
No,
because,
she's
that
saying
has to be in the
repeal.
title too.
yeah,
Yeah,
the title has to say the
Title's
purpose.
probably one of the most important parts.
That's where I was even
That's
wondering
awesome.
if, when we're saying replace levy, if we're gonna get dinged to not say increase levy.
Can it be less?
What if we repeal and replace police levy to eliminate public safety fee?
That's not. That sounds like as though if the goal is to eliminate the public safety fee. Doesn't it?
But it still says repeal and replace right up front unless you forget about it when you get.
What
toward the
about,
end.
is the goal not to provide sustainable services?
Yeah,
And isn't that not kind of what we're trying to do? The goal isn't to repeal and replace. The goal is to fund public safety over the next 5 years. I mean, maybe a broader,
Yeah, right. Okay. Now here it says purposes, here when it says 10 words, the purpose is to identify the type of tax. Do not put the district name or dollar amounts. Purpose is to identify the type of tax. So that's what we have to say. So it has to be, I don't know, all the examples that they have are very, like, they're not like, to provide, I mean, could we say to provide sustainable funding for Port Orford Police? Is that what you're saying? Like,
That's kind of what I was,
That's sort of in our summary, that's what we're
Right.
doing.
Does
I mean,
this,
that's in the summary,
oh,
that concept.
does this leave us, how much time does this leave us if it doesn't get approved by, is it the county or the state that has to approve?
the county clerk does, but if she has any questions, then it goes
Right.
to the state, the
That's what I'm saying.
secretary.
I
of
think
state.
it's like, you have to get it into the county by the 27th because the final date is like the 19th.
And then if it doesn't, but what I'm getting at is if they say, no, this isn't.
Yes,
correct.
we'd have to come back together. So
Okay,
to provide sustainable funding for Port Orford Police is 8.
Maybe that's not the way to do it. It's just a thought. I don't know.
I don't know if that would be, I don't know if that would go just because I was following the other examples. So, but I mean, that might be a way to try. What do you guys think?
Levy, eliminate. It's either, it seems like we're not saying enough if we try to explain it all.
but then in the question, we get into a little bit more of it, so what we can't explain in the title, but
Yeah.
we can catch in the question, I think.
Right. So if we do say, if we were to say to provide sustainable funding for Port Orford Police
I like
or
that. That's cool.
the title, or just, I guess it doesn't say to, it would just be provide sustainable funding for Port Orford Police.
I think it's got the catchword of sustainable. People like that word.
Do you
Yeah.
like that word, or as opposed to adequate? I mean,
Well, see, adequate seems like an art. Adequate seems like it could be artistically
Compostable.
manipulated,
Recyclable.
Yes, if it comes to mind.
Now we're getting delirious.
provide,
Provide adequate, I guess.
that doesn't sound as aspirational
I think,
as,
think sustainable sounds,
Okay.
I like sustainable. I
okay,
think there's-
let's try that. Let's go for that. Does everybody good with that?
Uh,
Provide
three.
sustainable funding for Port Orford Police? Okay. And then what's our backup in case well, we won't go there. We'll keep these in our back pocket in case if they come back and say no. Okay. Next question. Shall the city of Port Orford adopt a $350 per thousand levy to operate police services for 5 years beginning in 26-27? This almost just has to be this because
It does.
this is what they tell you to do. And then
Yep.
they tell you this measure repeals and replaces the current local option tax and may cause property taxes to increase more than 3%.
That has to be there too, I believe.
Yeah.
Do we want to say, sorry, do we want to include eliminates the fee? Doesn't eliminate the fee.
I don't know that will, so the passage of the levy won't really eliminate the fee. We have to come together as a council and eliminate the
Right.
fee. So I don't know how you'd explain it in 20 words.
Yeah, because you only have 20 words and that just makes it up to there. I don't think we can change that. So I think we've got a new title, which I think is good to try running it by.
Keep the same question. Keep
The same question, and we've drafted some revisions to this last thing. And I think let's go with that. Okay?
I think we're
Okay.
probably in a better place than we were. and
Yes, I think,
we're in a good place.
yeah,
I
okay.
think we've made it a lot better.
Yes,
Mm.
I think this is good. And what comes out tomorrow, I can get this to you tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to be able to recalculate the numbers properly tomorrow. I don't know if Gary, thank you so much for working on that.
So is it going to be just changing the 577 to 350?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, I think I can do that.
okay.
What are you changing?
The ending numbers.
Oh, okay. I got
And
you.
then we'll start with that. I will double check the thing about the 3%, but I think we're pretty good with it. And, we'll be a heck of a lot better than we've been. So the outstanding thing is, I know we need to leave, but I have to spend 5 minutes just telling you about the drinking water state revolving fund because we have to turn something in tomorrow. And I would feel remiss to not be telling you about it right now. It's not a consequential thing, but we have to, I just want to make sure to let you know that we're going to turn this in. As you know, our water filtration system has been having some major problems. And John Isidore has been trying to figure it out. He's had technical help from UAWU or whatever the group is that comes, and we've been working with the engineers, and we have to figure out how we're going to replace that, which is going to be a significant cost. So John has been doing that. I've been working to try to figure out how the heck are we going to fund this, and I've been working with this group, Willamette Partnership, I've told you about. They've identified that likely the best thing for us to do is to do a drinking water state revolving fund loan. So it's very similar to what we've done, the clean water state revolving fund loan. I hope it's going to be a half loan, half grant, like partially forgivable, but we're not going to know what it is till it's all baked in together. We don't have a good cost estimate at this moment. The engineer is actually going to try to help us. Business Oregon recommended that we take the SIP grant that we received for a feasibility study to look at secondary water sources and move it to focus on helping us kind of do some preliminary stuff on this project so we can be ready to move into this direction. So we are going to send a letter of interest tomorrow about this possibility. That will enable us to go down the path, learn if we will even get invited to have the opportunity to apply for that kind of thing. But it's another big chunk of money. So the initial estimate that I have, which is not really a great estimate, is $2.3 million for that replacement and upgrade. So, just, so anyway.
So what are our options to pay the loan?
What would our options be to pay the loan? Would be a fee or a cost. And the thing is, if they give us half forgiveness, then it's half of that.
Can we refinance all our debt or something? Should we look at that maybe and try to get it all into a payment that we can?
It's
like,
an
maybe
interesting
wrap our-
idea. I don't know if we can do that, but it's an interesting idea. We should have done it when it was down at 1%.
Yeah.
Because now it's
Yeah.
back up to what our debt is for the sewer treatment. For the debt for the sewer stuff is about 4%.
I think it's headed back down.
The
But anyway, it was just an idea. I mean,
the debt that
consolidating debt is always,
I don't know if we can, there's a lot of constraints with federal loans and such. We won't know what the rate is. I mean, it's been like 1% for years here lately. I don't know what the rate is going to be. I don't know what the principal forgiveness is going to be. But it's sort of like this is what people do when you get into these binds. And so I feel like that's the only option we have, because we have to try to line something up, because this thing is sort of in the process of failing worse. John, I talked to him today, and he can tell us next week. He just had the UAWU guy over there today, and there's something about how there's two kinds of metal that are creating, like they're
I don't know.
creating some problem that's creating pitting into one of the metals.
Similar
Yeah.
metals,
And
yeah.
that's like
yeah.
undermining the whole thing.
Happens to
So
a bunch.
that's just like one of the many problems. So anyway, I just felt like I wanted to tell you that, because it seems like a big deal, and we haven't, I've been telling you I'm working with the Willamette Partnership and trying to find ways, but this, because it might have a component of how are we going to pay for that, and we will have to have a bigger discussion. Could it be a fee? Could it be rates? Is it going to be a voter thing?
The thing about fees is we have a fee on those water bills.
Yes.
That would be your avenue, rather than creating another fee, I think. I think you would put it
Just
into
increase it.
those.
We'd raise the rate, the
No, you
the reserve.
Either raise the rates or you raise the fees.
Yeah.
There's a fee there.
Right. Yeah.
There's a fee on water and there's a fee on sewer.
Yes.
We adjust
Yep.
every year at budget time.
Yep.
I think that'd be where you would do it.
Yeah.
Either that or rates. So.
And one of the things that, we've been meaning to do for a very long time is we have to update the rate study. I've kind of been asking Melissa if we can do that. And, she's like, oh my God, we can't take another thing on. Of course, we have a relatively new utility person. So she's not really been, it's taken her a while to get up to speed. That there's going to be a lot of work between her and John Isidore to do an actual rate study. But a rate study is what tells you how much you actually need to charge to not be, because basically we're going down a hole, which is our engineer, I wish he would come and explain it, where we're paying more and more for overtime and chemicals and electricity, and then we're eating into the reserve that we used to be able to build. And so now
The reserve fee, that's what it was.
we're kind of going down the,
So can the reserve, the water reserve, that, what do we have, 1.1 million or something? in
no,
that?
we have like zero in our
What?
reserves.
We
Yeah.
What
stripped
happened?
it all the way down last budget session.
But we couldn't use it except for,
Oh, you're thinking of the
you're talking
SDC fees.
yeah, I'm sorry. So
Those
that
can-
can be used for improvements of what, you have to increase the performance of the,
Yeah, those can be
capacity.
used for the matching part.
oh, I
So
see.
those would be like what we would have to put for a matching part for the grant. Right now, we have them kind of earmarked for the brick grant, if that ever comes back. So anyway,
And I feel like this raw water tank, which we're kind of putting on the back burner.
Yeah.
Perhaps isn't important as it was the day we tried to get it because
Yeah.
John has since, I think, replaced some pumps up at Hubbard Creek that actually increase how much water he can pump in the plant. So now I think he can get the water there if it's not too turbid. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the tank would
Yeah.
eliminate the turbidity kind of thing.
Yeah.
Give us.
So he
Yeah,
can-
that
so he
would
could,
help.
the treatment part of it is
Yeah.
the issue.
it's the filtration that's the issue now. But it's like Russian roulette. And I one time went and asked the guy at UAWU, because I said, gee whiz, you guys have said this. One day John is saying, oh my God, this is the big problem. Then 2 days later, it's like, oh my God, this is the big problem. And you just feel like, what is going on?
It's a
But-
changing animal.
But they are all the big problem every day that they are a problem. So,
They're machines.
okay, with that, it's been longer than we'd hoped, but thank you all so much for your attention on this late night. We did some good work tonight. I appreciate everyone's attention and good thoughts. So, and thank you, Hank, for coming and
Very much.
helping us through all this and for all that you and you guys do. Thank you so much. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:43.
That's not terrible. Kind of a long half-hour meeting, but.
I had hoped it could be shorter, but.